The Florida Panthers have definitely been one of the most surprising NHL teams so far this season, in a good way obviously. They have gotten off to one of their best starts in franchise history with their win last night over the Dallas Stars, which by the way was a very impressive win. They were down 2-0 late in the third period and then scored 3 goals in like a 3-4 minute span to win the game. So with that win, the Panthers have a record of 13-4-2, which is good enough for first place in the Central Division and second place overall in the entire league, only behind the Toronto Maple Leafs. In this video, I kind of just wanted to talk about the season that the Florida Panthers are having so far, go over some of their players that are performing really well, talk about how some of their offseason additions have been paying off, and honestly, when it comes to the offseason additions, a lot of them have been huge contributors in this team's success so far this season. Bill Zito is looking like a genius right now. We will get into all that, but before we begin, as always, be sure to go follow my social medias like Instagram and Twitter. Links to those will be down below in the description, and most importantly, about 58.3% of the people that watch these videos are not subscribed, so if you're part of that 58.3%, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and now let's begin. Heading into the season, I didn't really know what to expect from the Florida Panthers. If you were somebody who watched my division preview and prediction videos in the Central, I predicted Florida to finish 5th place, so I actually didn't even have them making the playoffs. Now, the reason for that wasn't really because I wasn't, a big fan of the roster that they had. It was because I was tired of putting so much faith in them and being left disappointed. I made that mistake the past 2 seasons, so I wasn't going to predict them to make the playoffs again, ultimately to be disappointed. But then, of course, the one year I don't predict them to make it, they go ahead and do this. Another reason why I was pretty skeptical about the Panthers heading into the season is just because of how many new players that they had gotten. The roster this season looks completely different than the roster that they had last season. They lost some pretty important players in Evgeny Dadonov and Mike Hoffman, but you wouldn't know it looking at how the team has done so far this season. And like I said earlier, I think a lot of the offseason additions that Bill Zito made, the trades, the free agency signings, have been huge contributors to this team's success. So we'll go over that now. I'm only going to talk about 4 of the offseason additions specifically. Obviously, they brought in a lot more than just 4 new guys in the offseason, but I think these 4 that we're going to talk about have been the most important. So first, we'll look at Anthony Duclair and Carter Verhaeghe. These are first-line forwards for the Florida Panthers. They have been playing on the wings of Alexander Barkov for the entire season, and they have a combined cap hit of $2.7 million. Again, Bill Zito looks like a genius. Looking at Anthony Duclair's totals first, in 18 games, he only has 2 goals, which the Florida Panthers would probably like that number to be a little bit higher, but he's got 8 assists, 10 total points. He is producing, and in the Florida games that I've watched this season, he's looked pretty good. And then looking at Carter Verhaeghe's stats in 19 games, he's got 7 goals, 7 assists for a career high 14 points. Yes, a career high already. He only had 13 in 52 games last year. And the really good thing about Carter Verhaeghe is the Florida Panthers don't have to worry about losing him for nothing in unrestricted free agency since he's only on a 1-year deal, a team throwing a lot of money at him because he had a career year. He's going to be a restricted free agent, not a UFA. Now, the Panthers' other 2 offseason additions that I wanted to focus on, Alexander Wennberg and Patrick Hornqvist. Wennberg being another player the Panthers brought in on a cheap 1-year contract, and he's got 10 points in 19 games. He's producing at the rate we saw Wennberg produce at early on in his career in the 15-16 season and the 16-17 season. It seems like Wennberg is reviving his career in Florida, which is really nice to see after he was bought out by the Blue Jackets. And now finally, looking at Patrick Hornqvist, who I think has easily been Florida's most important offseason addition, and to think they traded away a bad contract to bring him in. Through 19 games, Patrick Hornqvist is tied for the team leading goals with Alexander Barkov. They both have 8, and he's also got 16 total points, which puts him 3rd on the team in scoring, only behind Huberdeau and Barkov. He's been amazing on the power play. He's been playing top 6 minutes 5-on-5, spending a lot of time with Jonathan Huberdeau, and aside from his on-ice performance, I imagine he's had a very positive impact on that locker room as well. All of his experience, championship experience that is, he's been great. All of the offseason additions that we just talked about have been really good. They've given the Florida Panthers a lot of depth behind Huberdeau and Barkov. Looking at the leading scorers for the Panthers right now, they have 8 guys with 10 or more points. Obviously, Huberdeau and Barkov leading the way. They are the stars on this team. They are playing like stars, but every good team needs scoring depth behind their top guys, and the Panthers have been getting behind that, you got Hornqvist, like we just talked about, with 16 points, Verhaeghe with 14. You're getting good production from the blue line from Ekblad and Yandel. How about Yandel with 13 points in 19 games? To think Florida was going to scratch him at the start of the season, that whole thing looks pretty dumb right now. And then again, like we just talked about, both Duclair and Wennberg with 10 points apiece. Now I want to talk about the goaltending a little bit, because that's a big reason why Florida has been so good as well. I said heading into the season that this team needs to get good goaltending if they want to do any damage, if they want to be anywhere near the playoffs. And so far, they have definitely gotten good goaltending, but funny enough, it's not from who you'd expect. It's not from the goaltender that they are paying $10 million a season for. Now yes, Bobrovsky is 6-2-1, but his statistics have not been good. Chris Driedger, on the other hand, his numbers have been fantastic. He's got a 7-2-1 record, a .928 save percentage, and a 2.18 goals against average. He's also got a goals saved above average of 6.15, which is 8th best in the entire league. Oh, how much are they paying him, you ask? $850,000, and they're paying their backup $10 million a season. Goaltending is just so random and so unpredictable, but hey, when it comes to the Florida Panthers and the goaltending that they have gotten over the years, I think they'll take this. Now, before I finish off the video talking about if I think the Panthers are contenders or pretenders, let's just take a quick look at their team stats. In terms of goals for per game, it's 3.21, which is actually 9th best in the entire league, and in terms of goals against per game, it's 2.74, which is 11th best in the league. If you're in the top 10 or very close to the top 10 in both of those categories, you're going to have a lot of success. Their special teams have also been really solid. They have the 8th best power play in the league, 26.4%, and they have an 80% penalty kill percentage, which is middle of the pack. It's 15th. Speaking of special teams, since I have to poke fun at the Red Wings every video at least once, in last night's game against the Predators, Detroit went 0 for on the power play once again, and they're now 0 for their past 40 on the power play. That's literally impressive how bad that is. But anyways, getting back to the Florida Panthers, are they contenders or pretenders? And what I mean by pretenders is a team that has a lot of success in the regular season, but isn't really a threat to go deep in the playoffs. I'm sort of torn on this, because you have to remember, with the core of Huberdeau and Barkov, and I think Ekblad, with that core, they've made the playoffs once. Twice, I guess, if you want to count 2020, where 24 teams made it and they lost in the play-in round. It is rare for a team that hasn't really had a playoff run together, doesn't really have a whole lot of playoff experience aside from Patrick Hornqvist, to just make it one year finally and then go all the way. So yes, they definitely have had an extremely impressive start to the season, but I'm not sure if I would label them, Stanley Cup contenders just yet, and the season isn't even halfway done either. Like, we don't know where they're going to be come season's end. Maybe we can revisit that later on, but Panthers fans, just enjoy this while it lasts. You guys deserve it. Over the past decade, when it comes to the Panthers, there wasn't really a whole lot to be excited about, and now there is. So that is pretty much going to do it for this video. Make sure to let me know all your thoughts when it comes to the Panthers down below in the comment section. Do you think they're contenders or pretenders? In all honesty, it's probably too early to tell. Again, we aren't even halfway through the season, but still, let me know what you think. If you guys did enjoy today's video, please be sure to leave it a like. That is, as always, the best way to show your support. And like I said at the start of the video, about 53% of the people that watch this channel are not subscribed, so if you're part of that 53%, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much for the support on the channel lately, and I will talk to you all in the next video.